disjointed the fight and came back in favor of Fnatic.
And we're back. Game number 2 of our leadoff best of 3 of the night. DK taking on TongFu. And DK, this young squad who is really surprising everyone, finds themselves on the ugly end of an 0-1 deficit. And really that's surprising given that TongFu had yet to win a single series entering play here tonight. And this is, you know, it's the kind of thing we can talk about their chances in D2L and how they're pretty slim at this point, that they're going to have a chance to make the bubble race playoff, let alone actually play their way into a spot in Vegas. But, you know, in terms of value of it to them as a team, getting a couple of wins here and there is really where any kind of momentum has to begin. So they're playing for a lot, even if practically they may have already been all but eliminated from postseason contention, while DK's right in the thick of things in terms of playing themselves into a top position looking ahead to our playoffs. So they definitely want to get one back now and force this series to a game 3. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers. The guy on the other side of the line, his name is Trout, here to bring you the insight and analysis. Going to be DK leading off with a Death Prophet and a Bat, and TongFu grabbing that Ogre Magi as well as a Skywrath and a Clockwork in 3rd position.
Yes, and we did get confirmation, as you actually messaged me on Skype, from Helen, saying that the Invoker's name, I believe he's an orange right now. It's Sin Ching.
Yep.
So I'll try to be good about that. Of course, now we got to figure out the other guy's name.
Yeah.
Hey,
we got one of them. I know you're listening now. Tell me. Pass that along to me as soon as you can.
Yeah. Anyway, fantastic play from Sin Ching. And I was very impressed with his, not only just Invoker, but just the fact that it was like a weird dual lane off lane thing. Like it was,
right.
I've never seen that before. And I mean, right from the get-go, I saw him buying boots. I was like, okay, boots first, probably exort mid, because I've seen, like, for instance, Luo do this on IG a lot. Not in mid, but just in general. But nope, went off lane and just owned with it. So again, it comes back to a very weird lane setup from DK. I still stand beside the point that Batriders just, I think, functions best in the off lane. Just for the reason that you can still take some stacks very nicely and not hinder any kind of farm from another core. So
right.
we'll have to see if that's how they play it this game. And ooh, one of my favorite heroes in the game, honestly, is Zeus.
Yeah, the Zeus pick is, you know, Zeus is one of those heroes I feel like everyone is kind of expected to catch on at some point. We just have never seen it over the last 2 years. I mean, I'll let you break down what the hero brings and doesn't bring. The problem with him is he does damage one way and one way only. He has an immense amount of damage output if he stays where he wants to be in terms of levels. Farm helps. I mean, being able to get a refresher, being able to get a scepter, these are all nice things, but really, he's just a master of running your face over if he happens to be the highest level on the map. The problem is he's also very squishy. He has no innate escape mechanism. Last hitting with him in the beginning of the game is a trial, to put it mildly. So what do you do with him right now if you're TongFu, and what do you think the plan's going to be based on the 4 we see?
Yeah, first of all, let me just say he actually is legitimately one of my favorite heroes in the game. I think, like, when you talk about damage output, go check out games where Zeus has played in both games where he's loses and wins, and he is by far the top damage dealing hero, by far. Obviously, it's a little bit easier when you have an ult that guarantees, you know, damage on everybody at the map globally. But this guy just spams out so much damage, and I imagine he will go mid. There's just a big stigma with Zeus where it's like, yeah, but he's so easy to gank, and if you get a BKB, he's useless. And as you mentioned, he has no escape mechanisms. All these things are true, but that's true for a lot of different heroes that are like, you could say the same thing for so many different heroes too. Like, for instance, like Death Prophet, like all you have to do is kite out the ulti and she's useless, right? I mean, there's so much more to that. Like there's so many little nuances that you have to work with. I think in general, yes, it's very, like, he's all magic damage, but as long as you kite out BKBs or if you're able to pressure before then, I mean, this hero does so much damage. And one of the great things is that you can always be ready to it's like similar to any kind of global hero. You can be ready to fight at any given time without being there, actually.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm with you. I'm on board with all of that. I mean, let's be honest. He is really easy to gank. And like you said, there is a little bit more to it than just that. He also has very little sustain early on. I mean, you can get a bottle up on him and he can spam waves. And we've talked previously about how You know, it's no coincidence that heroes that spam waves out in mid are becoming some of the most popular mids for that exact reason. You just keep yourself safe. You can control the equilibrium, and it frees up runes for you. And being able to use Chain Lightning certainly helps there. But I don't know. Like, damage dealing is a huge deal, as you said. I just feel he feels so very all or nothing to me. Like, if you draft a Zeus, either he does well in lane and he gives you a ton, or he gives you absolutely zero. Like, there's no middle ground. There's no Zeus that has an okay game. It's usually Zeus has a great game and you win, or Zeus doesn't have a great game and you lose.
I don't know. I actually have to disagree with that a little bit. I think that he could still function. Yeah, even if he gets shut down, I think he has a lot of utility with him. Obviously, you can always counter ward from minute 1 now, like, or actually minute 0 if you wanted to, like when I'm a support. We're seeing that happen several times.
Right.
You give good vision to heroes that are invis with both your ulti and your second spell, Lightning Bolt. So even if you do get shut down, you have that going for you. And also, I don't think you ever are really shut down, because even in fights, the range on just spamming out Arc Lightning literally every 1.75 seconds, that's the cooldown, just makes your damage and your uptime so much in team fights. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I do love this hero so much. He's got a very interesting block setup, by the way. I've never seen this before. I'm interested to see if this works. Wow, he was very confident in just getting that. I mean, this one creep is going to loop around a little bit, but never seen that before.
You talking about the Zeus?
Yeah, he walked. He was like stood behind, like directly behind the tower. Normally, you see him kind of to the left of it a little bit.
Well, letting the range creep go, and we've already got Kabu in position to make something happen on CTY. Has already placed his first point into Fire Blast. So, problem is, like we said, he's got Arc Lightning skilled, so not a whole lot of follow-up. May decide to try to do something else. He will spot out Cold Snap, and now there's going to be a disruption. There's the arrow. Oh, Kabu actually blocked it. That's going to allow them to turn this around. Great play if they can get the kill, and they do. Oh, what an excellent play by Kabu. Knowing it was coming, putting himself in a situation to eat that arrow, and DK has to be left scratching their head. That should have gone so much better.
Yep, and Xinxing is doing a nice job of getting every CS. One of the best heroes to get every single CS. It's kind of like similar to a PA, where if you get into that weird rhythm where it's like, oh, I can get this one, but if I go for this, it means I can't get this one. But not the same case with Zeus. You can attack and use your lightning at the same time. Didn't have mana for that one. But, yep, that's a free 1-minute bottle with another 400 gold under the belt. And, yeah, that's got to be very unfortunate for DK. I bet they were like, what the hell was that?
Oh, yeah, we were just about to see all of those things we were worried about with the Zeus put into play right there. Easy to gank, no escape, super squishy. Didn't matter. Having an invisible Ogre Magi in your pocket tends to help things out a bit. And we can see DK moving into the jungle a bit, trying to confound things some. And they are not going to find this other ward here. We can see LPC did drop this sentry and did find one of the wards, which was a sentry that he had placed, that they had placed right about there. So very interesting and very fun way to block here. Just dropping the 2. This one gives very valuable vision as well. So I really like the way that they positioned that.
I tell you, man, this Clockwork looks like a mini Dragon Knight. Like, look at this.
He kind of does,
doesn't he? I was like, wait. I was like, and TongFu has a Dragon Knight in the wait. That's not Dragon Knight in the offlane.
Yeah, it does look like some of the older Dragon Knight sets for sure.
No good for you.
Well, the Lycan going toe-to-toe with U9, and Bad Rider actually just got a kill down at bottom, as DK able to find a free one that time around. This is an interesting matchup for me, seeing U9 go toe-to-toe with Dreamy U, as CTY on the Death Prophet in mid this time. Going to be putting his farming skills to use on her. But, you know, being able to get your Clockwork into this kind of a position, he's on top of the CS board right now. He's actually out-CSing the Lycan quite handily, doubling him up now at this stage. So, and Clock is one of those heroes that really is fine with little to no farm. That's why you see him out in the off lane as often as you do. But he's also a hero that can just take a game over if he's able to get up a couple of very quick items depending on what he wants to prioritize, be it a Force Staff, be it a quicker Scepter, etc. So we'll be able to see him start moving around soon if this continues. Speaking of movement, we're going to have them go right on to CTY, and they're going to bring him down easily. TP's coming in, but XBG there with the disruption. Nothing to follow it, though. And he's actually going to end up taking more damage. Not quite. I was going to say taking more damage than he deals out, but still, I guess he'll get some levels. But CTY, once again, in mid lane, he dies, and DK finds themselves on the bad end of a 2-1 score.
Yeah, and that's another one of the things I've said before is that People also forget how easy DP is to gank before she gets some levels on to her witchcraft, whatever it's called. That what it's called, witchcraft. Yeah, because the movement speed there without it is so low. Without it at all, it's 280. Literally one of the slowest heroes in the entire game, and no escape mechanism for her as well. There is a smoke here actually coming from the dynamic duo Shadow Demon and Mirana. This could be a dead Zeus.
Yep, arrow on the money. Did they have the right click? Yeah, they've got it with the Crypt Swarm. Surely, as CTY is... Oh, no, yeah, he actually had an invis, so he's going to be able to get away. I didn't even notice his model doesn't show the invis all that easily, and I didn't hear the sound effect, so he skirts away again. Talk about some runes. That's the second invis rune that has saved this Zeus's life now.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure. Maybe he popped it right away, or maybe he was able to get it off right before the arrow hit after the disruption faded. I'm not quite sure. I could be wrong, but... Nonetheless, he's going to get hit level 6 here off of hopefully this wave, and that's when the global presence really starts to come in, and the damage right there onto CTY is just insane, man. I'm so excited to see Zeus. I love this hero.
He's coming up on level 6, so have his global ultimate soon. Arc boots are done, as mentioned, and I want to see what TongFu decides to do with it. I honestly, as excited as you are about the Zeus, I think I'm just as excited about U9 on this Clockwork. I love a well-played clock. And, you know, again, Clockwork can get a lot done just with the innate strength of his abilities. He doesn't need a whole lot of items, doesn't need a whole lot of gold. And levels matter, of course, but not nearly as much as they do for other heroes. But he's in great shape. He's right on top of the last hit board. He's been alive. He's almost level 6. He's basically a full level ahead of this Lycan who is in lane with him, which is impressive. No, never mind. I thought he was, the Lycan was level 4. He's actually level 5. Either way, still in great shape, and he's going to be able to start roaming this map with that Zeus and that Skywrath. You want to talk about the ability to lock someone up and just blow them to pieces? They're going to have it in spades.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really nice combination, and I actually think Lycan doesn't do too badly 1v1 against Clockwork as well, because as long as you have wolves out, he can never threaten you by killing with Battery Assault, because it just gets split up. So I imagine he must have got a number of 1 or 2 actually hits with the cogs. Actually, there's an arrow attempt on a Clockwork. Yeah, he should be dead. No escape for him this time.
Yep, they failed the gank on the Zeus that time in mid, but they had a lot of personnel hanging around, and U9 being a little overly aggressive with his movement towards the rune spot. Ends up getting spotted out. That's going to make it tied up 2-2. CTY going to catch a fire blast in the mouth, and now Kabu might be in some trouble. XBG is there, but here comes the rest of... Look at that burst! Just making it like he wasn't even there. They do manage to catch the Zeus from behind. He gets off his ultimate. He is going to end up dying, but the damage output's solid. LPC in the meantime just being burned down by DK's Bad Rider. It's a 2-for-1 so far. If they can catch the Bat, it'll be all right. Even the Satyr's getting involved in the action now. Kabu's now going to be spotted. He's got a Fire Blast, and I'm surprised he didn't use it right there. He hung on to it, and he had the Slark coming in from behind him. But 4-4 when the dust settles, and we're all knotted up again.
If the Skywrath gets arrowed there instead of the Zeus, I think Zeus just kills them all. Like, I really do. And I'm still surprised that he didn't die before getting off that ultimate. They just stopped attacking him. And they're like, oh, we're gonna let you actually get off one more spell before you die here. And and he did, and was able to get CTY. I think he actually got him before he died himself. He did. So he got credit for the experience there too. And another great thing about Zeus, as I'm just piling on with a big list here, is that this ultimate is a very low cooldown relative to other big cooldowns that we most commonly see, like Tide Ravage and Black Hole and things like that. It's only 90 seconds.
Yep. They've done a sufficient job keeping him safe. He's died once, and arguably should have died 2 more times than he has. But so long as he's up and breathing and he's not giving a whole lot away, then the biggest weakness, at least in my mind, of the hero is negated. And like you said, all of those great upsides, the damage, the low cooldowns, the ability to spam not just waves, but to spam heroes in team fights with arc lightning, etc. It's, yeah, I mean, I think he's in a great position to succeed now. DK has 3, once again, over near the mid-tier 1. And we're going to see Zeus go ahead and beeline for an illusion rune, hooking up with his team as well. Haven't talked a whole lot about this Bad Rider. He's very close to his blink, so Black Z going to have a chance to be another big playmaker. That is just level 4.5. Has been very active, but still hasn't accomplished nearly as much as she would like. U9, in my mind, is the one who needs to get active soon for TongFu. he's in a great position, but he spent, you know, he wandered down, he died in mid, and he hasn't done a whole lot since then. And we're going to see a dive on the CTY. They're going to be able to get him. And XBG unable to catch up with the Slark, who shadow dances away. So well played there.
And that was a TP from the Shadow Demon, who sat here with this Potom above the mid-tier 1 tower for like a full minute. And then they just kind of wasted their time after Sinshing revealed them with illusions. So they're playing really well here in the early game. I agree with you. With this Midas pickup from the Slark as well, they have a little bit more late game reassurance, which is nice against a Lycan and a DP. So I definitely do favor, though, DK in the late game. Although it's hard to say that because Zeus just does output so much damage. But, you know, DP is so strong in late game. They have amazing Roshan potential. Potom can transition if he needs to. So things are relatively even here.
Gonna be a wraparound smoke from TongFu. There's that hook. Knew U9 was gonna want to get involved sometime soon. They sent the cavalry just in case. Doesn't matter. As there's gonna be a lasso on to Kabu. Let's see if they can follow it up. He's pretty low. A couple more auto attacks will do it. Yeah, they do manage to bring him down. A lot of damage already been done. There's going to be a pounce on the Cold Snap. Nice defensive disruption from XBG to keep him up and fighting, though. And U9 unable to follow it up. So they end up going 1 for 1. They trade away their Ogre for the Death Prophet. LPC, in the meantime, though, has been trapped in by the big bad wolf. So they end up giving away 2 when all is said and done across the map. They are pursuing out Black Z now. Cogs are up for U9. Not going to have a hook for 30. Catching up with him, and the damage from Zeus is legit. He's going to try to find some safety, unable to do so. There's that spam ability you were talking about, just able to output damage very, very quickly.
Big kill, though, for the Lycan. That's really going to increase his... Like, every time you get solo kills like that, it just makes you that much stronger because you're not splitting up the experience. And with the hero like Lycan that really benefits from solo experience and extra levels, he can take it and run with it. So nice job for him. Unfortunately, the bat dies, but I think that DK is honestly okay with that trade. And like I mentioned, they have the dire position. They have very, very nice Roshan heroes. And actually, the Slark is like, are they doing Rosh? No, they're not doing Rosh.
7-6. TongFu leading right now. Gold-wise, they're leading as well as experience. They do need to press this though. I don't think they need to give the Lycan any more time to get what he wants. He does have the Vlads done, as mentioned. And they have such an ability to take big fights right now if they want to. Skywrath Mage, not quite 6. Maybe that's what they're waiting on. But before long, I do feel like they need to start really pressuring and forcing 5-mans out of DK.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's having this DP and this Lycan both on the same team, and the Batrider just be able to get anybody at any given time is kind of scary. Although CTY is ridiculously under-farmed, especially for his own standards.
Now, missed on the lasso. Took a second longer. That's going to buy them just enough time, and they miss on the arrow.
Oh, no.
Now turning it around. There's the ultimate. Disruption was there to try and buy a little bit of time, but U9 there with the hook to follow it up. That makes it 2-0. And the Exorcism not feeling all that scary. They borked that about 3 different ways, and look at the damage as they just erase CTY from the map off of a multicast fire blast, a lightning bolt, and I think he ended up hitting with an arcane bolt as well. Nonetheless, 10-6, a big fight going the way of TongFu, and DK has to feel some urgency. They have to tighten up, but I don't feel like they can just sit and farm anymore. They need to be getting kills. They can't let these snowball heroes snowball any harder.
And that's a blink. 12 minutes here for Sinshing as well. And he has that. He's going to have level 11 after this creep wave, so level 2 ulti for him. And he's actually going for the exact build that I do myself too. I love this guy. he's maxing the Arc Lightning second to Lightning Bolt, so not putting full points in the static build. And I think this is the better route, honestly, because Zeus likes to function from long range. And when you have just a little bit more damage for every single nuke that happens every 1.75 seconds, I think it does a lot more damage, actually, from a safer distance than trying to get up in the face of them. Well, you're not really up in the face with static field, but I do think the damage is more noticeable when you max out the Arc Lightning.
Right. TongFu happy to set their heals for now. They have a smoke. They do. They have one on Kabu. Doesn't look like now's going to be the time. Down at bottom, they're giving their Slark a little bit more room to breathe. He did go Midas, so more than happy to try to take it late if needs be. U9 picked up his urn, has 1,000 gold set away, and they are going to smoke off of that now. Would really like to see. Oh, I don't know. What do you think? Force Staff, or I would actually like to see a Scepter on U9. I think.
Yeah, I would see Scepter being effective. I mean, Force Staff, it's okay against DP, actually. It's actually not bad against the Lycan. Either works, honestly.
U9 looking for a shot. They're actually going to back up and go back the way they came. They're going to end up running into one if they're not careful. That's the bat. And yeah, U9 knows it now. He throws the hook. Oh, beautifully shot hook. Managed to catch out Dreamy U. Going to try to follow it up. The Mystic Flare is actually off the mark, but it doesn't matter. The damage output is just immense. They bring down 2 faster than I can call it out. The screen flashes a few times, and there are 2 less heroes present. 12-6, TongFu continues their reign of this early game, now doubling up Team DK. And in mid, CTY can't even reliably bring down the Tier 1. He is so far behind where he wants to be. U9 is there trying to keep this tower up, and at the very least, they're going to trade it as the Tier 1 at top now under assault.
Yeah, with the Bat Lasso being down too, I don't think they have to be too scared up here. Although they are part of themselves, actually. So maybe they do have to be careful. There's a TP coming in now. Yeah, they're probably going to die here. They overstayed their welcome.
Yep, Kabu catches a arrow, and oh, he couldn't find the Skywrath. Kabu's going to be dead for sure. They tried to be cute about how they engage. Look at the multicast. He almost one-shotted XBG with nothing but a 2x multicast on Fire Blast. That's ridiculous. But yeah, they actually tried to be cute about how they went for that. They hit the arrow onto the Ogre and then wanted to go for the lasso on the Skywrath, and unfortunately the Bat missed it. So, no, I guess he didn't miss it. He just flat out didn't have it. It was on cooldown.
Yeah, he wasn't quite sure where he was, too. I was looking at his movement. You can't fault him for that. It's kind of unfortunate. But they are pressing the issue up in the top lane again. The pushing power of Lycan is strong, and it's real.
Hook catches Dreamy U again. There's going to be a disruption onto the clock this time. Very well timed from XBG. And the follow-up, though, is there from the Slark. He's going to summon his walls. Doesn't matter. The burst damage is still just too real. And they get 2 more down. 3 dead, actually. And the Bat can do nothing but fly to the other side of the map. Slark's going to pursue him out and catches him with the blink and the pounce. Ogre's right there to follow it up. Fire Blast, don't need a multicast. 4 down. And DK is just sputtering. Down 1 game in this best of 3. TongFu has not won a single series in D2L Eastern Division play yet. And moving themselves this much closer with excellent play, and their ability to flat out erase heroes from the map is off the charts, man.
Oh, I'm just very happy for them, and the way that they're playing is quite impressive, because it's not just, as we've talked about with TongFu and some of their faults, is not being able to execute a well-balanced lineup. They always seem to be drafting things that are relatively easy to play, but they just couldn't get their team fights in order. But this is like kind of an opposite thing. They drafted a lineup that's actually hard to put together. I think this is a hard to execute lineup. And you were on the verge of calling it all in, which I do somewhat agree with. I do kind of think it's like, if they don't connect or if they do get ganked too much, they could just lose it flat out, because there's just better late game on the side of DK. So this is a harder to execute lineup, and this is a team that wasn't executing lineups very well, even with the better draft. So I'm just hats off to them. They're playing very well this series.
Taking a look at item progression, Kabu has 0, despite how well the team's going. Same with LPC, unless they got stuff on the courier. Force Staff is done for U9 now, so now he can begin his work towards that Scepter. Blink, as we saw, up on the Slark, has had that Midas up for quite a while now. Zeus, in the meantime, is going straight up Refresher. Has picked up a Perseverance, so not worrying about the Scepter quite yet. How do you feel about that? Do you want the Refresher or do you want the Scepter? Up, hang on, Hook. Didn't get anyone, though. And Slark actually missed on the pounce, too. So, a couple of missed opportunities there. That could have been a double kill if both of them had executed properly. Instead, DK scared the hell out of him, but everyone stays alive.
This might be a... Did he use the hook? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
This might be a good way to go into Roshan now, but there's some decent vision here coming out from TongFu.
Hang on. Blink pounce onto CTY. Easy kill. They fake backed and smoked right next to their own tier 2. So any hope for Roshan now done, at least for DK. And Kabu didn't even have to reveal his smoke. He's still invisible. Cold Snap finds an illusion. Might be found by an Ogre. Got spotted, got the Fire Blast off. Is there anyone coming? There's the Ignite on the money. And don't think they have any way to stop that, so he will be able to get back to safety.
Yep, and going for, to answer your question, though, it does look like he is going to go for a Refresher before an Axe. which I do think is a little bit weird because even for Zeus, it's a lot of mana. Like especially when he has level 3 ulti, it's 450 each time, so 900 without even costing or using the refresher. So I think that's the biggest issue. Yes, you do more damage with it actually than just getting a straight up Ags, but it costs a ton of mana.
DK trying to reset. CTY's back up. In terms of overall net worth, we can see no surprise. Tops of the board, and you know, this is what's impressive to me. It's not just that they're leading, because at this stage of the game, the leads are usually 500, 800, maybe 1,000 gold. They're leading by 1,500, 2,000 gold. There's going to be a blink on the cold snap. I'll tell you what, Slark with the blink whenever he's this far ahead is just disgusting. There's going to be the bat that gets caught. Mystic Flare is there, and the ultimate from Zeus. And U9 up front doesn't care. He's eating a lot of damage from the Exorcism. He will end up dead. If they can get the Slark here, it won't be that bad of an exchange. He needs to get out of there. He's got to pounce up right now. We'll go ahead and expend it. Behind that, though, it doesn't matter. As Xin Ching continues to look unstoppable indeed. They do manage to track down the Slark. They're going to lose the tier 1 behind all of the action, though. 20-11. DK loses 2. They managed to get 3 when all is said and done, but they did lose a tower as well, and it did cost them their Death Prophet ulti.
Yeah, I actually think that was not a bad trade for DK, to be honest. Like, yeah, it was a 3-for-3 with a tower, but their DP actually got some good farm, and that was the scariest thing for the DK's lineup right now. Is that DP? I said DK, I meant DP wasn't getting anything, and getting a nice double kill, especially with a kill on the Slark, is pretty good jumpstart CTY's farm. Now finally has the Yules and then another 1,400 gold for him. So I think that was actually not too bad for DK.
DK going for a Moonlight Shadow gank. It looks like he had sniffed it out. Now he's going to run right on top of them. Oh, such quick reaction. Blinks just right before that auto attack from XBG connected. That saved his life for sure. And there's going to be Rocket. Oh, the hook. Oh, that was so close. That was so ridiculously close. Wow, that was a fun disruption. Disrupting him. And the arrow and the lasso behind it. So DK, in an odd sequence, keeps themselves alive a little while. They hung around a bit too long. Don't know that lasso was something they actually wanted. That kept the Slark on top of them when he would have just been stunned for a while. But at the end, they end up losing the Shadow Demon, failing on the Moonlight Shadow gank. And I don't know what they do now. I mean, everywhere I look, I keep trying to find bright spots. CTY still is just hurting. He's got his Yules, he's got his phase, and that's nice, but he's not where he wants to be at all. Still quite a bit behind, 1,500 gold behind the Slark in terms of overall farm. And I don't know that TongFu has to back off of this right now. Like, even whenever they do get caught out, the Zeus now has a Linken's, by the way, so he's not going Refresher. Went Linken's Sphere.
I think it's way better, actually. I'll come to that in a second. That was another weird bounce there, actually, by the Slark. Couldn't connect with the bat. That last initiation with bat lassoing, he like lassoed, who was it, the Slark, and then brought him with them as a defensive tool. I think they could have just blown him up. I think they were actually scared that he was going to dark pack the lasso, so like, shoot, we just wasted the lasso, but he already had used it, so kind of a weird situation right there. But I actually like Linken's a lot better. Like, a lot better. Like I mentioned, early Refresher, he just simply would run out of mana, which is kind of a useless item. But this is going to prevent the bat lasso, which is pretty much the only thing that can really catch him. I don't think he's ever going to be in range if a Shadow Demon setting up with a disruption, unless they get really caught off guard with a pot multi. But with the supports having decent farm on TongFu, I think they should be able to keep sentries up.
But Lycan is continuing to progress a bit. He certainly hasn't had the game he'd won. He is middle of the pack in farm right now, and not just kind of behind. He's half a big item behind the two top in terms of the Zeus and the Slark. He's going to have a BKB up basically right now, though. And that's going to be a big item. They have to make something happen with that long duration first charge BKB. And with the other, yeah, actually BKB is nearly done on CTY. So we're about to see all of the things we theory crafted about, just how bad a Zeus falls off when cores get magic immunity, come into action sometime soon. How do you think TongFu should be playing this out, my friend?
Well, I would say honestly play around the Ogre. Because even if you have BKBs, one multicast and someone will still get bursted down. You have to be a little bit careful around clock initiation, because if he's too far away from his team with the BKB active, then they can't do anything. They have to run away, and then it's basically a wasted clock ulti and a wasted clock death. So make sure you're not fighting too far away from clock's ulti. The hook shots can't be too long, and I would say fight around the Ogre once these multiple BKBs actually do get finished.
Very fortunate dark pack there for the Slark. He actually got hit from a long-range cold snap Sacred Arrow. But yeah, he had already cast the Dark Pact before connected, so that got him out of trouble. He would have been dead for sure because they had the Shadow Demon and the Bat there too. So one of those little moments, who knows how big of a deal that could be, but losing your core to an easy gank like that would have been certainly something that would have been quite detrimental.
Yeah, the one thing I do fear looking at TongFu's lineup, like Slark is very farmed, will do fantastically in late game. Zeus is actually a very good late game hero as well, I think. I do fear that this clock is starting to fall off, though. His net worth is getting much lower. It's right there even with the Bat Rider just about, but I'm not really seeing any full item progression from him. Like, he's 4, 2, and 6, that's all great and gravy. 24 minutes in with the Force Staff, but he's not really, like, exploding, like, per se. So yeah, that's the only thing I fear here for TongFu.
I think he needs a Scepter.
Yeah.
I mean, the Force Staff choice was, you know, I understand it. I like a Scepter earlier rather than later on a Clockwork most of the time for that exact reason. Like, if you get a Clockwork ahead, and he had a great laning phase, you want him to get more ahead. You don't want it to just be like, oh, he's ahead a little bit. Dreamy U is in trouble.
They need to start this off with the Kabu, with the Ogre. Yep, and they're smoking around here, actually.
This is going to be a big kill if they can get it. Here we go. Summons the Wolves. He's pulling back.
Oh, no, he just revealed.
Yep, there it is. Wow. What do you even say? That's what we know they have the potential to do anytime they catch anyone. And if they can get a hold of any hero, BKB or not, they blow them up so quick that any stun duration whatsoever is more than enough for them to do that kind of damage. Like, if they're able to hook someone and fire blast them inside of the cogs, then it's just donezo. There's not a single hero on the side of DK that can survive that.
Yeah, and that being said, I think prioritizing the Ogre Magi's farm next is very important for them. Because as long as he's able to keep, I agree with you completely, keep throwing out stuns is the most important thing in this game for TongFu right now. And their only real stun is the Ogre. So an Aghanim Scepter is going to be very important for him.
Tier 1, under assault, down at bottom. Just the Slark. He's going to be spotted and lassoed. He is Dark Pacting, though. And immediately Shadow dances away. He's got 5 seconds until he can blink. Not going to matter as he just pounces, so that's a free tier 1 at top. Costs them nothing. TP down from Sin Ching, assuming that is still Sin Ching. Do we confirm, is that definitely him? Like, both of them are barcodes, so I don't know.
Well, I believe it is, yeah. The Invoker player, yeah.
Got to stick with it, so hopefully that's Sin Ching. But Sin Ching looking good in both of these games. He's 8-1 and 13. 21 of the 22 kills TongFu has tallied have involved him in some way, shape, or form, which is not uncommon for a Zeus because of his ulti. But still, doing it at the professional level, quite impressive. 5-1 for Slark, 4-2 for U9's Clockwork. So they're looking quite good.
That's insane, actually. I didn't even see that. 21 out of 22. I mean, yeah, he's a global hero, but I mean, still, with a global hero, it's not like you should be a part of absolutely everything. And he's literally been a part of almost everything. It's insane. Has a 4-staff now, actually, for his under his belt as well. Scotty coming out for the Slark completed. So good item pickups here, just to help him. Like, for instance, Zeus can kite a little bit more, and Scotty will obviously keep people in place and force out a like an ulti.
DK for now. Still trying to get drums up on their poor Mirana. She's had the bracer and the mantle of intelligence forever. Blink 4-staff on Black Z. Has also got himself a gem. So, I mean, they're doing the progression you would expect, and bit booster up on CTY, so he's going to be looking for a heart. Nothing surprising there. For Dreamy U, what do you think next item? Do you go Book or do you go Basher?
Oh boy, he's actually very underfarmed now that I look at it. I think Book is actually still quite good, but well, I'll have to hold that thought because we're going to see some engagement actually onto Slark here.
Oh, Lasso's there, but they've got help coming from behind him, man. Lycan wants to go for it. There's that big ulti. BKB was deployed on the Lycan in the meantime, but there goes the cogs. CTY dropping very quickly. The Slark does decide to disengage afterwards, though. And Dark Pacting through. What disables they do have. And he actually survives with the help of some 4-staffs. And I can't believe it. Yeah, that arrow actually hits a creep. Everyone got away from TongFu there. Every single character. And now DK, sans Exorcism, sans Lasso, and BKB, that's the best charge they're going to get out of Lycan at 10 seconds. That is bad news, because it looks like TongFu just wants to run at this tower now.
Yeah, and it actually could have been a lot cleaner. And he goes for 4-staff on Ogre. I find that kind of interesting. I did say at the beginning, though, 4-staffs are quite good against this team. But that could have even gone better because the Clockwork Hook went into one of his allies. And then he cogs his ally while an exorcism was on them. I was like, oh god, this is disastrous. But luckily enough for them, they were okay.
They're going to TP, back down or back up to top. Dreamy U overextending himself. U9 caught him with the cogs and down he goes. So another death on the Lycan. Let's see if they can get a return here. Nope, not going to even try. Wow, that's another big burst of damage from the Mystic Flare. Lasso onto, and he has been so good about that. Dark Pacting, anytime he expects the bat to be in range. I don't know if the bat's not quick enough. I don't know if his anticipation is just that good. But that's like, what, the third, fourth Lasso we've seen him Dark Packed out of?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's why you picked the hero, but it is a little bit easier said than done. Like, I've seen a lot of good plat players that just are way too quick for any good player to Dark Pact that quickly. So, nicely played by the Slark player as well.
I know you like Midas, but please tell me you don't like this one, because I don't. 30-minute Midas after the Mirana picked up 2/3 of her drums.
I actually think it's fine.
Of course.
Call me crazy, but I mean, look at their lineup. All they have to do, like, one of the innate problems with TongFu's lineup is they have terrible pushing. And so, yeah, they're making big strides in the game right now. They're kind of running over DK right now. There's a nice arrow attempt as it does hit Zeus, and there's a multicast into the bottom, but she'll be fine. But I feel like they're going to have problems getting into the actual high ground. And as long as DK can defend that, and they do have good means to defend it with a bat and the DP, then I think taking this to the ultra late game is the right way to go. So I don't think that the Midas is too bad.
TongFu does manage to escape with no damage done, and looks like they want to reset. Roshan has yet to really be a factor, like you would expect, especially with the Lycan on the map. 1,900 gold is what he has tucked away. He is number 4 in overall net worth, only about 1,100, 1,200 ahead of the Clockwork, and quite a bit ahead all of the other cores. The Slark is by far the highest on the map right now. 2,200 to go with his Scotty, his Midas, and his Blink. And I wouldn't mind seeing a Basher on him, actually.
Yeah, Basher would be fantastic for him, actually. Like the Scotty to force Lycan to pop the ultimate, the Basher to stun him through the ultimate, so pretty standard build from Slark. I haven't really seen too many deviations of this, actually. I mean, we used to see like all sorts of different things, like drums into S and Y, and then Shadow Blade into something else, but this is pretty much the standard one I've seen, at least in the Eastern scene.
Down at bottom, once again, Slark continuing to push this lane. This is where he's basically been farming. He farms all the way up, forces a reaction, then Dark Packs a lasso and runs away. That's basically been the way this bottom lane has gone. This time, though, he has a whole team behind him, and they just want to take the tower safely. Lincoln's put onto him, and nothing they can do about that. And Stutter steps in and manages to get the last hit on the tower. Taking a look at the metrics, we're at about 10,000 gold lead for TongFu. More than that, considerably in experience, about 12K. And if you're DK, are you just playing for the late game now? Just saying, hey, they got a high ground at some point. Let's just wait for that and hope we go late and we're richer than they are, or is there more subtlety to it?
No, I think that's actually all there is. Just play for the late game. They like I said, they have nice high ground defense between arrows. Like if they catch someone off with an arrow that's out of position, can follow up with the bat lasso, bring them into their tier 4s. Like that's a very safe place to fight. So I think their high ground defense is fine. They just need to wait out, and not give up too many more deaths. Maybe take a quick Roshan with a nice smoke or something like that. It's actually up right now. They could maybe do it if they were ready and wanting to. Actually, they could have done it if they were very quick about it. They're picking it out now, actually, so we'll see if that's what they want to do. There is a gem up in the Bat Rider.
Yep. He's had that for a little while now. Gem up on both sides, if I'm not mistaken. I could have swore I saw one. No, never mind. Yeah, there it is, on the Ogre. I was going to say I thought TongFu had one as well. Little D warding. Yep, there's going to be a hook. They managed to catch Black Z. And he knocks him up, so he's going to have to Firefly away. There's going to be, oh, nice pounce from the Slark. Comes in. There's that mass amount of just blow them off the map damage. Lycan down to half health, and his already uses BKB. Moonlight Shadow in effect. And TongFu goes right to work. Cold Snap leaps, but it's not going to matter. Caught and blown to pieces. And Lycan's going to be able to make it away, but they lost 3, including CTY. I'll tell you what, CTY, as good a player as he is, has felt like a complete and utter non-factor today in this entire series.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's see. Last game he was Lycan. I think Lycan last game was just totally a different story. But this game, I think that TongFu is like, they really outmaneuver him in the mid lane. Like I've said so many times about how DP he's a great hero, but is actually very gankable. And they were able to put that to good use. Oh no, he hooks into the teammate, but maybe they can still get this Shadow Demon.
There's so much magic damage you can just pile on. Wow, that's a bold Mystic Flare. But hey, why not? It's back up soon. You got a bottle, you got Arc Boots. They're going to come back out, and let's see if they can get their Slark back to safety. Maybe a little over-aggressive as the DP's about to be back up as well. Lycan comes in, but he can't do anything. Ghost Scepters, this making it impossible for him to find a target. Kabu, in the meantime, gets lassoed. They can't even bring him down as he force staffs his way down to the low ground. Arrow dodged. Split the wickets. And TongFu going to be able to leave. None the worse for their situation. They did manage to bring down the tier 3, but they did manage to get some damage done. So, I don't know. It's getting to the point I think TongFu is going to start feeling more and more confident in just rushing high ground. Yeah, well, and again, the point still stands so that their high ground pushing, like actual pushing, is not that great, but every single time they get 1, 2, 3 hero kills, it makes it impossible for DK to pose any kind of defense, and that's what's happened, and that's why they've had so much damage actually on this tier 3 tower up top, or sorry, in the mid. And these 4 staff, as we just saw, are playing humongous roles in these fights. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 staffs right now, and a blink and a Slark Pounce to just kind of maneuver themselves around. And Skywrath and Kabu popped the smoke. It was actually the Skywrath hiding out in the trees, so big waste of time for DK. They are grouped as 5, and wow, Slark just going in ballsy right into where 5 were just standing. Arrow's going to be off the mark, and looks like DK has to retreat. They still have 1 tier 2 standing. That's at top. But honestly, once ultimates are up, and Zeus, by the way, just about... Oh, he did finish his Scepter. I knew he had 3 parts of it. I didn't know he had the 4th. So Scepter done on him. And hell, at this point, man, Slark's going to have an Abyssal Blade. Like, he has an Abyssal Blade, like, after this wave.
Yeah, that's insane. That is pretty damn good farm. And the thing about this, the Zeus pick, too, and Cinching playing it, is it's not an easy hero to play correctly. Like, you have to be very careful about it for all the reasons you mentioned in the beginning, that he is very gankable in his own right. He can feel a little bit useless once BKBs are out. You have to position yourself very efficiently, and he's done so. It's a lot easier than it's a lot harder than it looks, I should say.
Cold Snap had the heads up that Zeus was coming. He just used his ulti. Little aggressive, I think, and got him just barely. But just barely. No, it's horseshoes and hand grenades, man. Sometimes just barely counts. And I seriously don't even know what they can do. Every time they leave the map as anything but 5, they end up losing 1 or 2 every single time. And the Slark, by the way, is now 6k ahead of the highest farmed hero on DK.
I know, it's hard now at this stage of the game to find things that are going okay for DK. I would say still high ground defense is still not bad. Batrider never falls out, or falls off, I should say, but the lead is just too big, it seems, for TongFu. We're up at nearly 20k net worth, over 20, yeah, just about over 20k in experience.
They're checking Roshan just to be safe. Gonna find nobody there. And I think if they... let's see what's in the career right now. Oh, he actually just went BKB. The Slark did. I thought he was going to go straight up Abyssal, but playing it very safe.
And you know what's funny is when we cast DK yesterday, we're like, wow, this is a completely different DK team than we've seen. I was going to say the same exact thing for TongFu, except this team, or this game. Completely different than what we've seen in the past.
Just so much of it, you know, and you certainly have better insight into this than I do. You know, playing at a professional level, there has to be so much of it that comes down to confidence. I mean, yes, obviously your individual skill level, but if you can come into a game and just be like, it doesn't matter what we draft, it doesn't matter what, you know, what you play, we know we can beat you. And that's how TongFu has felt today. Like, they draft the Zeus and go the hell with it. We're going to go beat you with a freaking Zeus. And that's what they've done. Like, that's the difference that I see anyway.
No, it plays a humongous role in games, actually, because the second you start second guessing what your natural ability in games, you start making bad plays, or you start missing stuns because you don't trust yourself. And then trusting yourself is very important, and trusting your teammates as well. So confidence plays, yeah, definitely a huge role.
Roshan, the next target, down at bottom. Cold Snap is hiding, for lack of a better way to put it. Don't know. I think he's going to try to grab these creeps or something. Yeah. Moves out. Sees them. Going to try to cut them so that TongFu can't just rush down lane. But I'm trying to make them rush down mid, I suppose. This Roshan's taking a little while to drop, but it's not going to matter. And who are they going to stick this on? Slark. Okay, I was curious if they were going to put it on him, or honestly Kabu. If Slark gets 6 slotted, I think Kabu's the next natural choice, just because of everything we've talked about. I don't know, I guess Zeus is really spam heavy, but the importance of his stun and the importance of him being up in these fights is really huge. And you know, he's 2-2 and 10, which doesn't say much, but a lot of the big wins they've been able to take have been because of him getting his stuns off and him just allowing them to have that little window of time to blow these heroes up.
I thought Kabu had bought a Midas there, actually, but he was just holding a Slark's Midas so we could sell it for him. And he's not even going to go for an Axe, actually, this game. He's just going for what I'm going to assume is to be a Yule's. But it's just fine, honestly. Just kiting them out at this point, making sure you don't die. I'm pretty sure they have the damage, so...
Up at top, there is a split push going on, so they may have to back and deal with this. They have a glyph, and nope, they've already got the Zeus there, so he's just kicking it. And he has bots, too, so in 30 seconds, he'll be able to hook up with his team no matter where they are. And it's amazing how quickly he shuts down a push like that.
Yeah, and look at, man, it's still the same. He's been involved in 27 out of the 28 of the kills. Insane, man.
Yep, everywhere. Just absolutely everywhere. He just rebought Arc Boots, I think.
He's trying to just, like, sell the boots and then just keep the... Yeah, there you go, buddy.
I was going to say, why would he rebuy Arc Boots? That's why. But for now, DK still has a little bit of room to breathe. Shivas is done. I thought CTY was going to be going straight up for a heart, but instead just getting the Vit Booster and then a Shivas afterwards. And it looks like Lycan is finishing another big item. It's going to be an Assault Cuirass, so a nice pickup for him. But with the Abyssal done on the Slark, if he's able to get on top of him, he's just going to chew through it.
He certainly will, especially if he doesn't get his BKB off, because that ulti from Zeus is going to do a significant amount of damage.
Oh, there's the BKB immediately. And yes, Slark's right on top of him. Is he going to use it? He's trying to wait it out. There's going to be the hook that's actually missed. So U9 with that scepter, not the biggest deal to have missed that. They'll be able to reset and take it. A little bit of a missed opportunity there, but I do think they should push really hard right now, knowing that Lycan's BKB is off for 60 seconds or so. And he's going to have a hard time being in these fights at all. High ground will be the choice. Here we go. Slark's up front, and they're zoning them off. The bat's going to look for a target, most certainly. And they're just continuing to play patiently. Still think they should be playing a little bit more aggressively right now. They have to wait on their creep wave. But Lycan's BKB is going to be back available in 30 seconds.
Yep, and there's a nice try there by the TongFu squad. Apparently, Slark just thinks that you can pounce through BKB, but that was not the case. I think they'll be fine.
Here we go. They're going to jump right on CTY. Can they bring him down? They can. Gone in a flash, as is the bat, and right on down the line to Dreamy U. That's 2 buybacks necessitated immediately. That's 4 down and a... Oh, my goodness. So quickly. A godlike streak only appropriate for this god as Slark continues to keep moving. There's going to be a hook. And Sin Ching has been a beast, enforcing out the GG just like that. It looked like they had some tools that could have maybe extended that high ground push. But DK, in the blink of an eye, in a flash of lightning, gone, as is their not quite perfect but very impressive record. TongFu finally finds themselves a win in D2L Eastern play and could not think of a more impressive way to have done it as they have here in this series.
So has Sinshing turned you into a Zeus believer yet? Because my god, 11, 1, and 22. How does he only have 9.3 fantasy points, by the way? That's ridiculous. That's like
ridiculous.
It is. I don't know how that crap works, but 11, 1, and 22 seems like it should be a lot higher than that. But man, so players to watch out for in the Eastern scene that you might not know about is this guy right here, Sinshing. And
XPG's legit.
XPG is a very good support player. ZYF, the carry player for LV, I believe.
Yep.
Very, very good player. And actually,
we'll see him up in just a second.
Yeah, that's right. So, but fantastically played by TongFu. I can't talk. And DK in a little bit of a rut today after such a great performance yesterday against LGD, but couldn't find their feeding today.
Yep, for sure. CTY, another name worth putting on there, though. I mean, Kombu's been around for a long time. I remember when he was playing with Rattlesnake. I really enjoyed him back then. There's a lot of talent in the East in general. They're just not quite as memorable to most as the Western players are. But trust me, if you're not watching your Chinese Doto, you're missing out on some very fun stuff. But this one's in the books. TongFu takes it 2-0 in very impressive fashion. And looking ahead to our next series, it will be LV versus LGD. So again, sorry for any confusion about the match that was supposed to be played tonight. Hell, we were just as confused as you were, if you want to be totally honest about it. But our second series will be as scheduled and as anticipated. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, broadcasting from our downtown studio here in San Francisco. Hope you guys are enjoying the broadcast thus far and really looking forward to our next matchup, IG taking on LV. Actually, not IG, it's actually LGD. And LGD has really been hurting lately. They've dropped a couple of very unfortunate series of late, and they need to get things back on track starting right here and right now. It's going to be about an hour, 60 minutes, give or take, until we're back with the beginning of that series. And during that time, I want to encourage you to head on over to kingston.com/D2LS5. Fantastic deal going on in the cloud headset. Check all the reviews, man. You don't have to take it from me. Amazon, Newegg, what have you. It's the most comfortable headset I've ever worn. It's the one Trout's using now. It's the one I have at home. And it's the one most of your favorite professional players use as well. And again, you can find that deal 30% off, down from $99.99 to $69.99 on Newegg or Amazon, your choice, by going to kingston.com/D2LS5. So again, 60 minutes, give or take, downtime. We'll see you back for LV versus LGD coming up next. Stick with us.